Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Platitude Era podcast. Thank you for watching us on YouTube or listening to us on the Anchor app. In this episode of the podcast, we will be reviewing the shark movie, The Meg. Remember, all our podcasts are divided into three parts. The first part is the non-spoiler movie review. The second part is the spoiler talk. And the third part is just where we discuss things about the movies, little notes that we took down that we want to discuss. Now, don't worry about spoilers. Before we enter spoiler territory, we will give you a fair warning. So, what did you think right off the bat? What did you think of The Meg?
It sucked.
Right off the bat?
Yes. It was. It's. Here's my problem with The Meg, audiences, that for this 7-week late review. I notice too much, like when how a movie's being made. I don't pick up on direction and cinematography and stuff, but I can kind of pick up how the production of a movie, and this to my nitpicky eye, seem very obviously a Chinese-made film that they tried to shoehorn into an American slate. It feels extremely weird to me, how Chinese this movie is, and how I have a feeling general American audiences might like dumb people, Walmart going Southern, don't know nothing about Hollywood people are like, I don't get it. Why is there so much Chinese stuff in here? It's like, it is so it suffers so harshly from feeling like it's being made by two separate production companies speaking different languages and having Google Translate as the middleman.
That's really good right off the bat thought about the movie. Now, taking it a step back, or in this situation, taking it about 50 steps back. First, let's talk about the story. So this
What
movie,
story? There's a shark, and it's bad, and they kill it. Spoiler, sorry.
This movie is about deep-sea explorers that discover an ancient shark known as the Megalodon. Now, this Megalodon lives very deep, deep in the sea. That's why it's never been seen until these...
That sounds like a spoiler.
These spoilers, these divers stumble upon it by accident. And
they're trying to beat James Cameron's record by going deeper than the Marianas Trench was seemingly allow. It's like, this Marianas Trench isn't rock, it's a hydrogen layer, and beneath that is this Avatar bullshit. Oh, look, Godzilla lives here. There's a bunch of shit here that we've never seen, but we don't really care.
And
we found 15 different species of animals. Oh, but we're just gonna chill out here because hey, it's deep. That's pretty neat.
And the Megalodon is based on a novel or a series of novels.
Jurassic Park.
That's what I have in my notes. The Megalodon is Jurassic Park meets Jaws.
No, that's Deep Blue Sea.
So what would this one just be like? It's Jaws on steroids?
Jaws on cheap Chinese knockoff steroids.
Now, what is this movie like with the tariffs in place?
With what in place?
Tariffs?
Tariffs?
Yeah, remember? Our president went to war with China over tariffs?
I don't know. I don't follow news.
You mean politics?
Yeah. Did Polygon talk about it?
We do follow.
Or CNET?
We do follow movie news. All right, so
I think the Hollywood Reporter covered it.
What
does this do for Georgia filming?
My thoughts about the story. I feel that this movie is pretty much a shark movie by numbers. They followed the formula, the sequence, and that's what you got. But I feel that this movie, they ran out of story, so it was pretty much rinse, recycle, repeat, because they just ended up repeating the same story all over again. So the movie's pretty much when you go on Instagram and you're watching a video and the video ends and then it repeats again. That's what this movie was like. Do you agree with me?
Well, elaborate. I don't care about your metaphor. Elaborate more on how it repeats.
I will. I'm going to elaborate more in the spoiler section how this story repeats. Because remember, this is a 3-part podcast. So
you don't need to go by your format. We can just talk. Nobody cares. Okay, so it kind of starts quick. It doesn't have too much setup. They're kind of like, oh, we're here to go underwater. Oh, we're here underwater. Hey, we're getting attacked already. Hey, here's the shark, and then a couple shark attacks, and then the movie's over. There's Shark Attack A, and then Shark Attack B, and then I guess Shark Attack C. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, so there's like 3 instances. Well, the problem with the movie is that it's pretty been there, done that, and it doesn't like. So the trailer offers a kind of more cheesy, like who cares kind of vibe to it. Like, oh, we're like Sharknado, but with a bigger budget. Whereas what the movie delivered, it's like semi-serious. And here's like, okay, so here's another like, so this movie problem with that half Chinese part about this movie is like they focus really heavily on these 2 Chinese characters, like this female scientist and her dad, and like there's a lot of scenes involving the both of them, and I have a feeling a lot of the audience probably checked out and were probably confused. Like these like Chinese actors are pouring their heart and soul into this, and like they're speaking in Chinese and it's subtitled and you feel like you're watching a Chinese movie. But like I don't think American audiences care, but whatever like the Chinese Oscars or the Choskers, like their nominations come out, I'm pretty sure they're both going to get nominated for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actress or whatever.
And maybe they might even win because it's a Chinese actors in an American movie.
Well, I don't know, whatever. I'm
and
pretty
an
sure
American
a lot of Chinese
blockbuster.
But here's the thing: it fails as an American movie, and then the parts that are Chinese, I'm pretty sure Chinese audiences are fine with it. Where like Skyscraper is an American movie made for Chinese audiences, whereas this is a Chinese movie that they try to shove into an American theater release date, and it suffers from that. It suffers from like being too much of a Chinese movie when Western and Eastern audiences are completely different. And I don't care that, like, spoiler, the dad is like dying or something, and then like the daughter is like gonna cry and she has this heartfelt moment, and I'm just here to like shoving like buttered popcorn in my face and dumping more Raisinets into my bowl of popcorn, wondering when I'm gonna see a shark again. I don't care about these people. Just get back to dumb action.
Okay, so did you feel, because you brought it up, you're waiting for the shark, did you feel you got enough shark or not enough shark?
I guess I got enough shark. Well, no, I'm gonna say I was disappointed by the amount of shark, in the sense that like, yeah, it's there, but like it didn't wow me just because you made a big shark. Like you have this gigantic shark, and then you still put it on a beach, and then I'm watching a scene from Jaws like 40 years later. So I don't know why. Ooh, it's a big shark. What are you gonna do with it? Oh, nothing. It's more of the same. It's another shark attack on a beach with people on the beach being scared.
As far as I felt that I got just the right amount of shark. When the end credits rolled, I said, I'm happy with the amount of shark I got.
Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. You and the rest of the mouth breathers. You and the rest of the gill breathers. Thank you.
All right, usually we're not supposed to talk about acting, but acting is something that stood out for me in this movie. How did you feel about Jason Statham?
So you know how you like to pretend, or like you invent a narrative that actors phone in their performances? I could feel Jason Statham phoning in his Chinese Skyping his performance in, because like I don't remember him doing anything memorable. I don't remember him being that interesting. Like, so once again, the Chinese movie failing to be an American movie, like they shoved one-liners into the movie, and like they didn't land well. It was like oh, get ready for whatever dumb one-liner Jason Statham could have said, and then like he delivered it like this, and then it's supposed to be funny, but nobody in the theater's laughing.
I think his one-liner.
So who cares?
I think his one-liner was in the trailer.
There's like a ton of one-liners in this movie though, and like a lot of comic relief performances. I get like the movie like has somewhat comedic elements because it's trying not to take itself seriously. But I'm sitting in a full movie theater. This is back on opening weekend. A full movie theater of silence and maybe a chuckle here and there. That's how bad this movie is.
I guess this is the first review where we're going to completely disagree. I thought Jason Statham was cool, as usual.
Well, I mean, all he has to do is be playing Jason. All he has to do is show up, and I'm pretty sure he'll do fine. I have a feeling he tried a little harder in Transporter 3 than he did in this one.
And you know, one person that I'm liking that Hollywood is forcing on us, let's see if you can guess which actress Hollywood is forcing on us.
Is it an attractive Chinese actress that is made to bring in Chinese audiences?
She is, but I was thinking more Rudy Rose. Is it Rudy or Ruby Rose?
Ruby.
Yes.
But you could call her Rudy, whatever.
I really liked her. My notes, I don't know why I misspelled her name. I apologize if by accident you stumble upon this review, but you were very awesome in John Wick 2 as the deaf assassin. She communicated with sign language.
Yeah, she did a bang-up job as Justin Bieber.
And in this role, she's really cool. She's like that hip, cool hacker.
Okay, now you're bringing up another interesting point I had. Is everyone so more cheap? This movie is nothing but a cheap Chinese knockoff because everyone in this movie is a generic archetype. So you got your Jason Statham as like the badass whatever, as the shark expert whatever. You have Ruby Rose as the cool hacker chick. You have Chinese lady as like the super smart scientist lady. You have like fat nerds as like the kind of dorky but comedic relief. You have token black guy as token black guy. You have Rainn Wilson as eccentric billionaire, and Dad as concerned adult, and then that one guy that like whose name escapes me, but he's like a Middle Eastern actor or like something Pakistani, and he's kind of there too.
Was it the guy from the Fear of the Walking Dead?
Yeah, that one. And they're all just kind of meh, all forgettable, all generic, all meh.
And then, last but not least, as far as acting, I wanted to move on to the next topic, but we have to talk about the little girl. She was very cool.
She was very cool.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't. She was just a little girl in a movie that was just a little Chinese actress that they shoved in this movie because maybe she might be in a Chinese thing in China.
But I really liked the chemistry that she had with Jason Statham, and I thought the way they interacted, both of them, was good chemistry and very funny.
Yeah, okay. There you go. There's a highlight. Is a little girl acted well with a bald, bored British man.
All right, moving on. What did you think of the special effects?
To be honest, I was kind of checking out every time there was a special effect going on because nothing was interesting. At the part I should be most interested in is the part where I started checking out because I'm like, it looks this. I'm just staring at a big screen I'm staring at Shark Tale. I don't care.
According to internet, they spent over $150 million on the budget.
That might be like the Chinese currency exchange rate.
I felt the shark was real.
Wow, you're stupid too.
All right, now we're gonna move on. We're just zooming through all of this. Moving on to the rating.
You got scared. It's a piece of shit.
So you say piece of shit, and you
I mean it's a cheap piece of Chinese plastic.
And you don't recommend nobody watches it.
It's a Chinese knockoff of Yeezys. It tried to look like it, but once you put them on feet, you know something's wrong.
My rating is...
And it falls apart in the rain.
If you like shark movies, wait for it to come out on Netflix.
If you like shark movies, wait for it to come on cable, but you're fine with your Blu-ray copy of Jaws.
Now, that's only if you like shark movies. If you don't like shark movies, don't watch it.
Go back to Shark Week.
This is just a shark movie by Formula. It follows the formula. It has the same things as every other movie. We were not too long ago watching Jaws, and we saw how the shark movies of today completely went off into a different formula. They took the original formula and just turned it around. All right, now we're heading into spoiler territory. We're going to talk about some things about the movie that are spoilers. So if you've been warned, if you haven't seen the movie, don't worry, you can listen to our spoiler talk because you probably won't see the movie. But if you really want to see the movie and you haven't seen it yet, go watch your movie, The Meg, then come back and listen to the spoiler talk.
Sneak into The Meg because you don't need to spend money on it.
How are they going to pay back their huge budget?
Has it been released in China yet?
Yes.
Then they'll be fine.
All right. Anything you want to talk about from the spoilers?
What's there?
You want to go first, or
should
I go first?
The dad died. There's nothing to spoil. It's generic and boring. And heel turn. Dwight from The Office is a bad guy for no reason.
Okay. So my first spoiler is what I'm talking about. How they repeat the story. They ran out of story, so they repeat it again. So spoilers. Here we go. The Meg is a shark. and they kill the shark in the second act of the movie.
This is barely a spoiler, but okay, yeah, sure.
They kill the shark in the second act of the movie, or was it before the second act?
It was like halfway to 3/4 into the movie. They kill the sharks. Like, yeah, we got it. Boy, that was easy. Oh, a flipperoo? That wasn't the shark. Like, see, this is where I have a problem with the movie. Like, it's so generic and like, oh, we killed him, and then cut to gigantic. Oh, there was a bigger one, and it ate the littler one.
Yeah, but then the way they did it was they introduced the first shark. They're trying to figure it out. They finally kill it. And then there's a second shark. And then it's all over again. They're trying to figure out how to kill it. And then they kill it.
I mean, I knew they hadn't killed the shark because I still had half a bucket of popcorn I was working with. So clearly the runtime hadn't ended yet.
So that's what I meant by they ran out of story and they just repeat it. Unless you think that they had a script for the first movie and then the sequel and then they just put it together, combined it. Because usually in the sequel, it's like, oh, the shark is bigger.
Maybe it needed to be on Sci-Fi, and it needed a few more like commercial breaks in between. Because I mean, you can't. There's not much you can do with a giant shark movie, unless you go batshit crazy, balls to the wall, where he's like chewing through like oil tankers, and then he's like literally fighting a naval brigade, like cool shit like that I invented in my head. But no, he doesn't do anything. It's just a big shark, and he like small megalodon. Oh, it's fighting this boat, and then they're able to catch it, and then they kill him. But then, oh, big megalodon, and then I don't know. They go to the beach, and then he terrorizes them at the beach, and then they have stupid like little video game floaty pods, and then they fight them underwater or some shit, and then they go Independence Day, and then they like crash their Star Fox jets into the shark and probably say eat this, and then blow it up, and he says take that you alien assholes, and then the movie ends.
That's much more entertaining than what we got.
Go for anything besides this movie.
All right, here's another spoiler, and this is kind of like a mix of what I think happened behind the scenes. So I think
Told you what happened behind the scenes. It's Chinese money.
I think when they were doing the marketing for the movie, they wanted a scene in the underwater lab where the little girl is by the window and the giant shark is staring at the little girl. And they realized how talented the girl is that they added additional scenes. Because I don't see why a grandfather and a mother would bring their daughter to work. Have you gone anywhere and they have, the employees bring their kids to work?
Well, back to, hey, this is a Chinese movie. I don't know how Chinese movies are made. Well, like how I assume how an Indian movie needs to have several singing and dancing sequences. I guessing a Chinese movie needs to be for everyone. So you have romance, you have action, you have stuff for kids, you have this and that and the other thing. So like they're cramming so much, like so many characters and plots and all sorts. There's actually, the story's pretty bare bones, but you see what I mean? Like they're cramming in so many elements into this movie to be as wide appealing as possible. And the movie suffers by ending up being nothing at all.
One of my complaints I had about the movie is when the shark's heading towards civilization, you're expecting this bloodbath, you're expecting chaos, pandemonium, a la the movie. Oh yeah,
you can't have blood in a PG-13 movie.
A la the movie Piranha 3D. But you didn't get that, the shark
because that movie's R.
The shark knocked over a few people, and I think
Piranha 3D has a dick being bitten off. You know why Piranha 3D is going to be a more successful movie in the long term than the Meg? Is because the Piranha 3D knew it was shit and didn't care. This movie kind of cares and wants its Chinese leads to win the Chinese Oscar.
Here's one more complaint I had about the movie. I don't know if you remember this. The big fake out.
The one we just talked about?
No, the other one.
What other one?
So
what a forgettable movie.
They capture the shark, or they kill the first shark, and they're hanging it. They're taking pictures. But if you look the way they frame the camera, you're expecting the shark to come back to life.
Oh.
Because they were taking pictures, and the guy's standing next to the shark, and you're expecting the shark just to...
Well, a fake out only works if the shark does come back to life. You can't fake a fake out.
But the way they set it up...
no shit, because the movie's still going.
It was really weird framing. This guy says, hey, take a picture of me next to the shark.
Have you never seen a movie that has, like, quote-unquote horror elements? Yes, they try to scare the audience. They play to their emotions.
That was my complaint because it was
I
very.
still had half that bucket of popcorn. Yes, we were talking about this.
And then second to last, spoiler. Rainn Wilson is the villain in the movie.
He's not the villain. He becomes a villain, and then spoiler dies because I don't know. I don't even know what was his motives. Money, something.
Wait, what money? He has money.
Well, I don't know. It's confusing because he's like technically like the John Hammond of the movie, and like he's like, oh, I built this underwater state of the art facility with one of the weirdest, most baffling things to me, a really shittily painted elevator. I like brought this up to you during the movie. I'm like, why is this underwater studio like or deep sea laboratory so fancy, but it has it looks like a shitty elevator from like the meatpacking district. It looks really bizarre and out of place because they were like because they shot on an oil tanker that had an elevator. They shot like an oil drilling rig in the middle of the ocean with an elevator, and then for continuity's sake, like they didn't paint that elevator. They just rebuilt that elevator in their studio, and they're forced to have this shitty looking elevator in their beautiful like deep sea lab.
You
Just paint the fucking oil elevator, the oil rig elevator. Jesus Christ.
People, you have to see the movie just for that
No,
one
you don't.
scene that this billionaire who has money to spare.
Everything is gorgeous, pristine, state of the art. It looks like it was designed at Apple, except for this fucking elevator with paint flakes chipping off of it, and it's rusty and rickety and gross. And some of the top most illustrious like oceanic zoologists, biologists, whatever, are coming here in this shitty looking elevator. No. It doesn't make sense. Just paint the fucking elevator, you fucking hacks.
So Jason Statham
Yes, go on with your stupid spoiler talk.
is a villain in the movie. But he's so redeemable because no matter what he
Just
does.
Jason Statham.
No, I'm sorry, not Jason Statham. Rainn Wilson.
Well, because he's just Rainn Wilson. Not Dwight Rainn Wilson, but, you know, like, whatever other movies he's in.
Yeah.
I don't know, Juno, whatever.
So in the beginning, he builds the lab and he's got money to spend, money to throw away. It's like, oh, wow.
Spend no expense.
I spent $10 billion
Idiot.
on this underwater lab, and it's a drop of the hat. Or a drop. What does that saying goes about? A drop?
The drop of the soap.
Drop of the soap. That's how much money he has. He has so much money that $10 billion is nothing to him.
Drop in the pan.
Then, in the end of the movie, or near the end, he becomes the villain where...
Why? Why did he turn?
Because he didn't want lawsuits.
But he could pay for them or whatever. It's confused. Like... Because, like, I want to avoid lawsuits, but I'm the richest man in the world, but I'm going to do this sleazy thing that, like, but I was never sleazy before. Now I'm sleazy. Now I need to save a buck. Which is it?
Yeah,
Because this comes out of nowhere. And then he gets a comeuppance he didn't really deserve because he was kind of likable. Because he's Rainn Wilson.
Yeah. So that's our complaint.
Like, this
there.
movie had, like, it was written, but, like, in bits and pieces over, like, the course of 20 years. And, like, they knew they had beats to hit. But they didn't know how to tie them together. And like, oh, what about the part where the billionaire's the bad guy? Ah, fuck. Why do we have to cast the famous American actor Dwight from The Office? And then they're just like, oh, like, what if he's a bad... Because he has money. He must be a bad guy.
And I like how you said Beats and Dwight in The Office was a beet farmer.
Oh, yeah, that was a pun. No, it wasn't.
Now let's talk about the ending. The ending, which was a ripoff of the Justice League. In the Justice League, the bad guy gets eaten by his henchmen.
No, the bad guy doesn't get eaten. The bad guy gets eaten. Batman's fine.
I'm sorry. You're just making me laugh so hard that I'm struggling to say words.
Okay.
And
Some reviewer.
so at the
This
end
guy
of the
has
movie,
a podcast?
at the end of the movie, they make it seem like Jason Statham is going to sacrifice his life to save the lives of all the tourists in China
Oh, now I remember.
and the crew in the lab. He gets on his little floaty ship that you said looks like which spaceship?
It just looks like a dumb, like... It looks like a dumb video game. If anyone's played Pokemon Snap, it looks like the little like bubble pod if it went underwater.
He does this maneuver thing. He pulls the shark away from the people.
Or it looks like a Narbu starfighter, but underwater. It looks dumb.
He takes the shark.
Spared no expense.
He takes the shark away from civilization. He takes it out into the middle of the ocean. The shark is about to eat him. He does this really cool maneuver where he cuts the shark with the propellers from his underwater Naboo Explorer. He makes the shark bleed. He cuts it open. And then what happens?
Oh, I don't remember. Well, I don't remember nothing about the end of the movie. This movie's garbage, forgettable. But I remember, like, there's one thing I remember from the end of the movie. Like Jason Statham tries to save his life, and then Rose from The Last Jedi crashes into his Naboo starfighter and says, "We don't win by like killing what we hate, but saving what we love." Was that in this movie?
No, that was not in this movie.
It really wasn't.
No.
What movie did I bring that up to you to?
Was that The Last Jedi?
No, it was this movie. This cheap Chinese knockoff film stole a line from The Last Jedi. Where, like, didn't the Chinese lady scientist, like, crash into Jason Statham or something? Or, like, prevented him from sacrificing himself?
I don't remember that part.
Well, I think I do. I'm pretty sure that for people that aren't going to watch this movie listening to this review, because it's not a good movie, I think they ripped off The Last Jedi at the end at one of the most frustrating scenes in The Last Jedi. They ripped that scene off in this movie. If I'm recalling correctly, the movie was garbage. I don't remember it.
So then just to wrap up the spoiler
No,
talk.
but what happened at the end? Because you set it up and I don't even remember what happened at the end.
I know. I'm going to wrap it up. He cuts open the shark.
Okay.
The shark starts bleeding. I mean, he cuts open the megalodon. The megalodon starts bleeding. There's millions of sharks in the sea.
Oh,
They
yeah.
smell the blood. They swim towards the megalodon and eat the megalodon alive.
Oh, well, I guess that's kind of cool. You're right. This movie's great.
So that's it. Now we're leaving spoiler territory, and now we're heading into the final third part of our podcast where we talk about little notes, little things that we picked up about the movie.
I told you everything about this movie. I told you about a fucking elevator. What's there left to talk about?
Well, for people like me that wait till the end of the movie to see if there's any more cool scenes, you don't have to wait. There's nothing at the end. No clip, no teaser at the end of the movie.
Just a cheap Chinese knockoff of Mickey You So Fine.
Which I also have that in my notes with a bigger elaboration, but there's no thing at the end. I was expecting them to put like a shark or something at the end, kind of teasing that there's going to be a sequel. Another note is that famous horror movie gore king Eli Roth was supposed to be the director on this movie, but he left over creative differences. He wanted the
Because
movie
he knew
to
the movie
be...
was going to suck and be financed by Chinese producers and end up being a Chinese movie.
He wanted to make an R-rated shark film, and the studios wanted to make a PG-13 shark film. And then here's something that you brought up. Jason Statham and The Rock both are going to star in the Fast and the Furious spin-off movie. Now, what are the odds that both of them this year were in a B-movie creature feature?
Probably pretty high.
The Rock was in the Rampage movie with the giant monsters, and Jason Statham was in The Meg, where he fights a giant shark monster. And both movies were from Warner Brothers. And last but not least, according to IMDb, Disney had the rights to make this movie in 1997, I believe, but they decided not to go through because of the success of the other shark movie,
Titanic?
Deep Blue Sea, which was another Warner Brothers film. So I'm wondering if that's why they kept playing the Mickey You So Fine song in the movie, if that was like a dig at Disney. It's like, hey, you relinquished the rights to this movie.
No, I'm pretty sure that that song probably had just come out when they were filming the movie, and apparently it was very popular. But it's just baffling to Americans because, like, didn't we already come out with that song in like '84? Okay, I guess it's catchy. People like it, I guess. It already came out. Whatever.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to our podcast on the Anchor app or watching us on YouTube. Remember, if you like what we do here, subscribe to us. And if you want to know when our next video comes out, set up your notifications. You know, like in YouTube, you hit
Click that bell. Subscribe to our Anchor. Follow us on Twitter.
That way you know when our next video drops. Thank you very much, everyone. Do you want to do the sign off or should I?
Fuck you, Jaws.